thank you for joining us for Americans in Spain Insider Edition. Today we're joined by three other vetted Americans who are here.
Hello.
They're here to share their secrets to success for living in Spain. My name is Ariel and I'll be hosting for today. We're going to have a couple of question and answer sessions, and then we'll play a couple of little games that will go over Spanish culture, Spanish geography, and a little bit of gastronomy. So without further ado, I'll let you introduce yourselves. Lynette, if you'd like to go first.
Sure. I'm Lynette. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and I've lived here for about 6 years. And the reason I came to Spain was actually I had a career back home and I wanted to hit like a reboot, reset button. And I was planning on just staying 1 year, and somehow Madrid sucked me in, and I ended up staying for a master's and kind of became a really long adventure.
I think that's something probably we all have in common, the
Yes.
timeline we didn't stick to.
Yeah.
All right, Tyson, if you'd like to go ahead.
I'm Tyson. I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. I've lived in Madrid almost 8 years. I did a study abroad almost 11 years ago. I'm dating myself. And the reason why I moved to Spain was actually because of that study abroad. It was kind of a nice taste of something that I really enjoyed. And I think once I moved back, I told my family minimum 2 years. And so now it's, almost 8. So,
Okay, great. Thanks. And Keegan, go ahead.
I'm Keegan. I have been in Madrid for 7 years. This is my 7th school year, full school year in Madrid, because that's how I calculate years, I guess. I also ran on the timeline of, I swear you guys, just 1 year abroad. It's just going to be one. And then I just got stuck and loved being part of Madrid. I came to Madrid originally to teach English, but after a second master, I decided it was time to switch careers, and I'm currently interning in my second master as a translator. So that's a big change because I wanted to learn Spanish, and now I'm working in the field.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll start out with the first round of questions, doing the Q&A session. So first, this is a group question for all of you. And everyone talks about the culture shock that you're going to experience. But for you, what was the most unexpected culture shock that you experienced?
I think I was working with small kids when I first moved here. And I think in the States, we have like a very clear boundary line of like personal space. And I learned very quickly that that does not exist like at all. And I learned quickly that like birthday kisses were a thing, like from teachers and your students.
That was a lot.
So that was, I tried not to show it on my face, but it seemed very normal to everyone that they were just, everybody was just kissing everybody. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's lip kissing at school. Okay, that's great. I guess that's how it's going to be.
Definitely, I would agree with that. But also another one, even though I'm, my mom's Latin American and I grew up with a knowledge of Spanish, I think also communicating saying different words that are more Latin American, or trying to make sure that you're not misinterpreted.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit of a challenge for me. And also the kissing, for sure, because I got a lot of cobras. I did a lot in my day because I was not used to so much tactile.
Totally. Everyone's just very forward here.
To bounce off that with the communication thing, for me it was, I always thought, because when I came I didn't speak Spanish and I didn't understand it at all. And so when I walked into my boss's office when I was a teacher, so like the office, the principal was talking to the secretary, and they would just shout at each other, and it was full screaming, and then all of a sudden they'd burst into laughter, and in my brain I was like, they were just yelling and arguing, and really it was all very friendly and loving and not arguing at all.
Just a different level of friendship.
Yeah.
Trying to tell you how loudly I care about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that was pretty like, whoa.
All right, I'll move on. We have a question for Lynette, which is, so you're talking about learning different words and phrases. So what is one of your favorite words or phrases that you learned with Castilian Spanish?
This is really difficult because I think idioms and expressions is something that Spain does well.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Express how you feel. And one that is, I like to focus instead of the differences, try to what brings us together. And one of the expressions is corto de luces. Like short, you're short, or like you're cut in lights, which means you're ditzy or absent-minded. And we have a similar one in English, which is like the lights are on, but nobody's home. So it's very and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'll be able to use that and remember it and use it. That's my favorite one.
Well, that's good.
That's a good
Great,
one.
thanks. Tyson, if you had to pick one place, I know it's going to be difficult, but where would you say is your favorite weekend trip in Spain?
Thinking about this, I actually cheated and I'm going to give you two places. So sorry. If you actually just have a weekend, like that's only 2 days, I think Sevilla would probably be my favorite weekend trip, just for the fact that it's like, one, the city's so gorgeous. You have so much culture. You have so much food. You have like endless nightlife, and you have AVE, the high-speed train that gets you to Sevilla in like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
okay.
save so much time on the travel that you're able to enjoy so much more like the city and kind of being around and getting kind of into the city if you only have 2 days. If you're lucky and you have 3 days and maybe you can leave early the night before, I'm crazy, but I would probably say Canarias. I think Canary Islands are just like so amazing. And if you can leave at a weird time, like a late Thursday night, take off the Friday, you can get flights that are round trip for like €60 maybe. And
Right.
I don't think I need to talk about like, it's tropical, there's beaches, it's really nice. Everything's super cheap. So I would give you two. So definitely Sevilla or any of the Canary Islands.
Great. Those are some good recommendations. Keegan, what is your favorite fun fact about Madrid?
Well, I just really love Madrid and I love fun facts. Actually, I have a book of fun facts about Madrid, which is super fun. I would suggest getting the same book. But Plaza Mayor is just full of so many fun, exciting things and the history behind it all, down to the statue and if a horse's legs are up, or however the calamari sandwich came around to be. So I guess the one that I'll focus on is that the calamari sandwich, the Bocadillo de Calamares, is the most famous thing in the center of the Plaza Mayor. And it came to be because there was no port in Madrid, obviously, because it's not surrounded by water. And so it's hard to get fish. And so they would take the fish, and when they received it, it was already rotten. And so then they fried it and put it in bread to cover the flavor of rotten fish. And people wouldn't know. And then they would eat it, and it was great and delicious. And this was a long time ago. Don't worry. You won't be eating rotten fish today. But that's how it came around, and it just took off really fast and rapidly. And now it's super famous and fresh and delicious.
Yes.
It's fresh, I promise.
Fresh and cheap. Definitely
So cheap.
a budget-friendly snack. All right, so this kind of leads us into a segment we're going to call the musts in Spain. So it's not necessarily your favorite or it's just something you would recommend that someone has to do if they're coming to come to live in Spain, something that they need to try, experience. All right, so the first one we're going to do, which Tyson, you might have already kind of jumped to the first one, it's going to be the beach destination in Spain.
Can I buzz in?
Buzz in, you got it.
I got excited. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just got so excited.
You have my beach.
I thought about it. I actually had never heard of it before I went to it, and someone was like, we're going here. There's a beach, a tiny little place called Nerja, which is in the very south, and it's just unexpected, and it has everything, but not too touristy, but just touristy enough. And check out the unlimited paella on the beach. It's where it's at.
Great. What about Lynette? Do you have a must beach destination?
Must Beach. I actually do like, I prefer a lot of a combination of not just beach, but I would say like, I even think San Sebastian, Donosti, that's a gorgeous beach to just go and surf if you like to surf. And you eat really, really well there.
Oh gosh,
It's a bit pricey, but it's worth that splurge.
Yeah.
second. That
All
emotion.
right. What about your Spanish festival? A must Spanish festival you have to go to.
I'll be Ben. I probably won't ever repeat this, but I would say La Tomatina was like a thing that you just have to do if you live here. You will leak like red tomato tears out of your eyes for like the next 3 days. But it's kind of just so ludicrous that you just have to, it's kind of you had to be there kind of moment. So I would say you got to do Tomatina.
All right. Any other one that you thought?
Mine's a toss-up between San Fermin, so the running of the bulls in the north, and then Carnival of Cadiz in the south. And they're both just so fun and so unique. They're in different seasons, so you can hit both if you're only here for a year. And then you can repeat for years and years and years to come. They're just super fun, very culturally driven, and a great experience all around.
Okay.
Or also even do like, even if you are a baller on a budget, and we have festivals here too, El Festival de la Paloma.
Yeah.
You can actually experience the Madrileños at its best with all the verbenas, which are the street parties. And it has a really good cultural component, but it's also, it's right here, literally. Walk outside, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What about a viewpoint or like a land, like somewhere you would go to take a photo opportunity viewpoint?
To go back to what Lynette said, the little mountain out in San Sebastian, out in the harbor, if you can hike all the way up there, I mean, like, it's a hike. And if you manage to get a little bit of sun, that's an incredible view because you have the whole city behind you, you have the entire Concha beach out below you, and then you just have like this gorgeous Atlantic viewpoint out from the top. So that's like amazing.
Any other viewpoints?
Let's see.
Or rooftop terraces.
Yeah, I was saying Madrid, there's quite a few rooftop terraces, or there's also the Templo de Devot, which is in the park. It's a really pretty sunset, and the temple is super cool behind it if you can catch it in the right light with the water.
And there's a Pequeña Granada too. It's a little terrace that's right there in Tirso de Molina that it's kind of a hidden gem, and you have to sign up, and you can actually get a membership card.
With the old guy in the lobby.
Yes!
We've been there. Okay.
Yeah, we totally know that.
Yeah.
Okay, what about a nearby small town to Madrid?
Cuenca. It's really beautiful.
Yes.
The hanging houses are super cool. Definitely a must-see weekend trip. Close by. You can take a bus there, do it in a day, and it's great.
But make sure to eat dinner early. Words of warning.
Yes.
Everybody
Good
goes to
idea.
bed.
What would you say is a must late night snack for those staying up late?
I mean, for me, there's only one, and that's always kebab. It's simple as that.
I'm more of a burrito
anything
girl.
fried. Like,
Yeah.
anything fried, like patatas bravas or something to coat the stomach after a long night.
Yeah. If you're lucky enough, you can get them to put French fries in the kebab.
All right, it's over. Game changer.
All right, what would you say is a must activity to try in Retiro, or an activity to do in Retiro?
This might be dangerous, but I say you should go rollerblading. I mean, I like rollerblading, but if you're not very good at it, you got to be kind of careful. It is generally flat, so that's kind of nice. You just have to watch out for a few hills, but it's kind of nice because it gives you a little bit more mobility, so you can like see the entire park and go kind of all the way around, and then you don't have to hoof it so much.
All right, Lynette, do you have anything, or Keegan, anything to add?
I did the boats.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oops, sorry.
Jinx, you go.
Okay. There's a museum there always that has free entries to like whatever exhibition they have. And
Cool.
it's nice if it's too hot outside or if it's raining. So
Yeah.
option too.
Oh, the Peacock Park.
Yeah.
I changed my mind. Yeah. I can never find it twice. It's like I always just stumble upon it, but they have all these peacocks and it's super fun. And
Okay.
they just walk around.
So, Keegan, earlier you were saying, we're going to hop back over to some questions that we're going to direct each of you. Keegan, you're saying that you had learned Spanish when you came here and you didn't know it before. So what do you think helped you learn Spanish the most when you were here?
So I let go of all my vergüenza, which is like your shame. I came in and I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do it. And I had to stop being prideful and just let people teach me. And that was one thing I definitely had to do. And then I was really fortunate to right off the bat have really cool coworkers who really wanted to hang out and introduce me to their friends, and some of their friends didn't speak English. And so it was just really that full immersion of it all and being forced to try to express myself. It started with a lot of hand motions and a lot of non-conjugating of verbs, like a lot of, just endings, the ER, IR, AR endings instead of getting into the conjugations. Then just surrounding myself with people who spoke it, patient friends, and listening, a lot of listening. And one other thing that really was shocking is a lot of my Spanish came from the classroom, from listening to the kids or the teachers that would be teaching in English and they'd be like, this is blah, 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 in Spanish, and then my brain would click it and I'd be like, oh, great. So the teachers kind of talking in Spanish to their kids really helped.
So she really is smarter than a fifth grader.
All right, the next question's for Lynette. What would you say has been your trick to become a local in the neighborhood, cafeteria, bar, market, wherever? What was your trick to becoming a local?
I think the main thing that shocked me at first was how friendly and everyone says hello. But that is it's a social norm here that times as Americans, I know that I'm at fault where you usually are like just going at your rhythm and you don't even say hi, and they find it really disrespectful if you don't. So I think that making that effort and speaking to everybody, with the cafeterias in particular, go to the one in your neighborhood because they're the ones that once they know you very well, they'll have your coffee ready at the time that you come. Yeah. And they genuinely want to know things about you. So I think that just being open, that maybe they're asking some questions that perhaps you feel, oh, wow, this is invading my privacy. But not, is that they genuinely want to know who you are and where you come from. They find a lot of curiosity with Gidis or foreigners.
Yeah.
Okay, that was really good advice. And Tyson, how did you make your Spanish friends? How did you end up making Spanish friends?
I think my keys are like pretty similar to Keegan's keys. Like you have to be willing to kind of make a fool of yourself. I mean, like I came here knowing Spanish, but I think you have to just be able to like let everyone else laugh at you for a while, because anything you say, like someone will think that it's funny or cute, or they're like, oh, how do you even know that? That's so weird because you're just so American. So I think for me, like I just had to kind of let go eventually of that and just be like, okay, well, yeah, it is kind of funny that I said that. I guess that is kind of weird. And then also I think just as easy as you can take it, you also have to be able to like dole it out. Mm-hmm. So like you have to find that fine line of like, I'm going to insult you, but like in a friendly way because we're friends, right?
First time.
Yeah, and then I'm going to make you be my friend.
It's like the confirmation of the friendship is,
Yeah. We can both politely insult each other, and then we fist bumped. We're real friends now.
All right, so this leads us to, we are now going to play a game called This or That. So I'm going to share with you all two options you'll have to choose between 1 and 2. You'll see the images on the screen, and just hold up your number 1 if it's the first option, or number 2 if you pick the second option. So we're going to start here.
That makes sense.
We're going to. All right. So for the first one, croquetas or bravas? Patatas bravas.
Oh no, I definitely like bravas better.
I want croquetas.
Oh,
Dos bravas.
2 for bravas, 1 for croquetas. Okay, Parque de Retiro or Casa de Campo?
Oh,
We can't see the
The
picture.
picture.
Ah, you can't see the picture.
Maybe if we scroll. up. I don't know.
No? Here or no?
Still not.
We're on croquetas and patatas still.
I wonder why I won't. Let me get out of the.
Oh, you could
screen.
scroll down.
Oh,
There it
no.
is.
Now is it there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it here.
It's-
Okay, so
hard.
Parque de Retiro or Casa de Campo?
Yeah.
Everyone for Retiro. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Close.
Way, it's the best.
Museo del Prado or the Reina Sofia? Modern art or classical? 2, 1, and Keegan.
It's hard. That one's hard.
That's
That
hard.
is a hard one.
They're very different. I think they offer different things. And
That's true.
Picos de Europa or the Sierra Nevada? Ooh,
Because it's
two-
close to Granada,
Oh,
and
but
you get
the
to go have.
Picos were-
Yeah, but you get to go have tapas in Granada.
Oh, but the people
Yes,
are
Granada
so
is a beautiful
beautiful.
Yeah,
city.
very nice. Yeah, very beautiful.
all right. Football or toros?
I don't know. One.
And undecided.
I like them both for different reasons.
Yeah. Toros has a historical significance, so it's
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Oh.
true. That is true. Jamón or queso?
Cheese, always cheese. It's always going to be cheese.
My first year, I wouldn't eat jamón. Like it was the only thing on the planet left. I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
They
It's
technically have to
kryptonite.
go together, so you
Yeah.
have to vote 2 and 1.
Or a little book of milk, ham and cheese
it's
together.
hard.
Together.
All right. And continue. Dali or Picasso?
Hard too.
2 for Dali and
Okay.
All right. Yeah. I've loved Dali since college, so that was an easy one for me.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
all right. How about Spanish shopping brands? You have Zara or Mango?
That was easy for me.
Mango. Bam. All right. País Vasco or Andalucía?
It depends on the vibe I'm going for.
Yes, exactly. That's so different.
So different.
My heart belongs
I
to
really
Andalusia.
like the South. It feels so much more Spanish.
You've got the
I'll be
sunshine.
the cheese and cans alone. My last name is Basque, so I've got.
Hey.
That works. We'll give you that one. Malasaña or Salamanca? The neighborhoods in Madrid.
I'm too poor for Salamanca.
All right. Sangria or a rebujito?
Ooh, that's hard. Depends on the season, but
Lynette, do not tell me you're drinking these in the winter.
I drink a lot of things.
All right. Rebujito took that one. Sevillanas or sardana? Yeah.
Gotta go with what experience has taught me.
Yeah.
And I have the dress. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes, the
Exactly.
outfit makes it all, and when you learn how the movement is, how it's kind of like it resembles like when you're trying to liar el toro. I mean, it has a lot of significance actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
All right. Carrefour or Mercadona?
That's hard, but
What we actually buy or what we
Yeah.
would like to buy. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
better deals.
We do.
I
Yeah.
love that place so much. It's the first time I was at a supermarket that felt like home.
they also have cheap makeup that actually lasts a really long time.
Yeah, and good
And
creams.
these
One.
Face cream is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, traveling in the city, metro or bus?
Just speed.
Oh, seasickness.
I actually, believe it or not, take the bus a lot more.
I'm with you on that.
And it's because I like the space. When I feel like I'm too claustrophobic, I just take the bus.
And in the winter, I don't like running down the steps to the metro and sweating.
I did that and I took a big tumble. So
We've all taken the tumble.
And
We've
then
all
you take
taken
your
the
jacket
tumble.
off in the metro, and then they all look at you like you are this insane Geedy, like this insane tourist. And I'm like, what, you guys aren't hot? You're wearing a winter parka
With a scarf.
with a scarf on
a scarf.
face. I'm sweating looking at you.
Yes. But dress for the season. All right, country travel. So traveling throughout, do you pick train or bus? Yeah.
Train.
Languages, Catalan or Euskera? Not if you speak them, what you prefer.
Oh, I wish.
Wait, no, wrong, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Just for like the crazy difference of it. Like that's
It's so different.
it is.
It's so different and long. And you're just like, how do you pronounce that?
I know, right?
Oh, it's
Cachopo?
cheeky meaty 10 letters. I don't get it.
And where does the X and the K sound come from? We don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what about cachopo or chuletón?
Cachopo for sure. Can I order that from Uber Eats tonight?
Yeah.
Let's do for cachopo and for chuletón. Oh, can't wait to have some cachopo again.
Yeah.
We'll be waiting for you.
Oh.
Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid?
My dad would disown me if I voted for the other team. So
I just look a lot better in blue than I do in red.
I just think whoever wins.
Sports ball!
Sports, go sports. All right, where do you prefer sunset, in Templo de Bod or in Parque de Siete Tetas?
Siete Tetas is really beautiful, but it's just too far
Really
for me to
far away.
travel.
it's true. It is. And it's also like, it has a different vibe.
That's true.
It's more of the hipster vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also like Templo de Bod is like very romantic. I'll just go for romance. Why not?
Okay. Canarias or Baleares?
Oh, that's so mean.
I know.
That's mean, but I'll be hard on this one.
Okay, yeah, I would probably go with one
I
as
don't
well. One was
know.
my thing.
I don't.
It's really hard.
You have 7 options versus 4 options.
All right.
Land.
And that concludes our game of so I'm going to head back to our normal screen that we have here. I'm going to wrap up with a couple of, actually with one last question that's for all of you. And it would be if you could give advice to someone who's moving to Spain for the first time. Maybe it's something that you learned on your own or a good piece of advice you've always kept with you. What is that piece of advice you would give someone coming to Spain for the first time?
Coming to live or coming to visit?
Coming to live.
I
Like
would
once
say,
we get here, but like on our way.
well, I would say
In the
if
airplane between dinner and breakfast, what advice? No.
if you're really kind of set on like really kind of changing your lifestyle, like if you're really looking for like a big life change, I think what you have to try to do is try to make friends with people who aren't like just the exactly same as you. So like try to find, even if your initial friends aren't Spanish, like choose like a French friend or like a German friend or a Portuguese friend. Like try to kind of branch out of just like your most intimate circle and make those friends first, and then
you're
it will be
making
much easier to then make like other American or English speaking friends, because I feel like it's a lot better to kind of get the point of view of someone who has a completely different culture than yours, rather than say like, oh no, yeah, I have my group of 10 Americans and now we're all best friends and we do everything. And then that's way harder to branch out and be like, now I'm going to make international friends.
Yeah.
You know, so like I think kind of break through and find friends who are outside of your comfort zone first, and then later it will be much easier to kind of make those friends who are just easy to make.
Okay. That's a good piece of advice. Kind of set the pace for the rest of your time.
Definitely. And I would even write 5 things that you for sure want to do, because this generation, and not only that, just sometimes, well, right now we're kind of a little bit at a slower pace, but I think that we have this horrible case of FOMO that we're just like trying to overcome, and it's better so that way when it does time to come, if you have to go back home, you at least can say, I did this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And communicating is not just verbal, it's also nonverbal. So pay attention to those nonverbal cues too, and be open to that, and then ask someone who is from that culture so they can explain it to you. 'Cause sometimes I don't think that people realize that they do it because it's just such a part of them. So
Yeah.
that.
For me, I would say that definitely when you're here, like branching off the 5 things you want to do, when you're here, when you're walking down the street, one thing that I realized after living here is that I was so wrapped up in like texting or listening to music or whatever that I never really absorbed my surroundings. And so when my first visitor came and was, you know, they were walking and they'd stop and just take pictures of everything. And I was like, what are you doing? And then I realized the things that I'm looking at are unbelievable. The architecture, the history behind it. I mean, even in the center of city, like metropolis, what's that word?
It's just spelled, guys, so.
English.
Yeah.
Just like Madrid, just being in a big city and then having, you know, you look up and there's this building that it's like unbelievable. And so, yeah, just, I guess, really absorb it, look at it and embrace it and embrace the embarrassing things too.
I think that's something that I realized afterwards too. It's very similar to Lynette and Keegan, what you said, but as Americans, we're very accustomed to wearing headphones all the time. And I think when you come here, the first thing is when you're walking or in the metro, like put away your headphones, and the amount of things you'll learn or absorb just from listening or repeatedly hearing them saying that the metro, like, we're arriving to this station, and then all of a sudden you know how to say that phrase in your head and you can apply it in different ways.
And there's a lot of juicy talk on the metro too.
And
like
you'll hear some-
if you like to eavesdrop, the metro is the place to do it.
So just leave your headphones in, but don't play anything. So then they can't tell you're listening. But you'll hear podcasts too, and then you can learn a lot from like other people's experiences, or maybe they'll name drop where they went last night or a restaurant they had, and then you can also, like Ariel said, pick up on that kind of thing.
I think it's like literally like take like stop and smell the roses while you're here.
Yeah, it's a good encompassing kind of advice for all of that. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up now. So I'd like to thank you guys so much for joining us and sharing your experiences. We're so happy to have that, and that we can share this with other Americans who are coming to live in Spain or thinking about coming. So with that, I'll say goodbye and thank you guys so much.
Love Madrid.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.